You can see the screen. Last time there was some issue. You can see the presentation, first slide.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So in the last class we discussed reconstruction, and before that we discussed sampling. Today we shall take up something very interesting. So please be attentive. A little bit more than what you can usually be, because of some very interesting concepts are involved. So if you are attentive and listen to it carefully, then you will be having less issue. I mean, a quick follow-up of the textbook will serve the purpose. You don't need to spend much time on assimilating the fundamentals that are behind the different concepts that we pick up today. So the first thing that we talk about is downsampling. Then we shall talk about upsampling. Then we shall talk about combination of these two, and implementation of digital filter using this concept. Okay. So this is the agenda. So let us see how much we can proceed, depending on how much you can accept it, and it doesn't become too heavy for you. Okay. So what we mean by downsampling? So a signal is already sampled and is available at a particular sampling rate where the sampling period is t. Okay. So this xn is already available, and you are looking for signals being made available to you at a rate which is a downsampled version of it. Okay, downsampled, D subscript stands for downsampled, which is an integer multiple of whatever n the values that are there. So what does it mean? So if we have got sample here, over here in this side, like this, right? And finally, these are being stored in the memory, each of these samples in some place. So if m is equal to 2, right? And if this is your starting point, n is equal to 0, so basically then you are picking up this one, then this one, then this one, and this one. And ultimately we know that it is sequence processing. So these values will remain stored here. These arrows that we are talking about, this will remain stored here. Okay. So this is the downsampled version of it. Okay. So it might appear that it is so simple. So I mean, this is these signals that are to be downsampled. And if instead of m is equal to 2, if we have m is equal to 3, so we shall take every third sample. M is equal to 4, we shall take every fourth sample, and all. While this is correct as per the definition is concerned, so in actual implementation we need to be careful about certain things. Can somebody tell you that what we need to be careful about while implementing whatever I have just told, that we take every second or every third or every fourth depending on m is equal to 2, 3, 4, etc., and have a downsampled version of the original signal which was sampled at a rate t. Now this rate is 2t, 3t, 4t, or whatever. So if it was a 1 second, it is 2 seconds sampled, 3 seconds sampled, or 4 seconds sampled. I mean sampled at a period of 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, etc. So what we should be careful about? Can I get an audio response?
Sir, by increasing the sampling period, the sampling frequency decreases.
Right.
So the maximum content of the original signal frequency,
Right.
that would be bounded.
That we need to be careful about, that we are not breaching that. Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. So this is something that is to be taken note of. Okay. So whatever we discuss in these few slides is all about this basic fundamental concept which you already know, but put in a different manner and making us understand the implication of it. Okay, and what is usually considered whenever we do downsampling, where I mean, even if whatever this precondition that we are talking about, we are not very sure whether this precondition is met or not. Okay, so how we approach in those cases. Okay. Here, what we talk about, what we mention about that general resampling approach, what does it mean? This means that an alternative could be like you have got the original signal, which is sampled at a sampling interval capital T. We already know the deconstruction, how to do deconstruction by interpolation, etc. Okay, by passing it through an ideal low-pass filter. So we get the XT and then we resample it. Okay, so this could be a general resampling approach, but we can avoid that if this m is an integer. If m is non-integer, okay, then I mean this is required. Otherwise, also if m is non-integer, how we can combine downsampling and upsampling to get non-integer, implemented, that we shall see later once we understand upsampling as well together with downsampling. Okay, so as your friend has correctly stated earlier, we were looking at that the this Nyquist rate, that omega s by 2 should be greater than omega n, right? So that omega is greater than 2n. So this omega s, that is pi by t, now it is required that pi by t prime should be greater than pi omega n, that is the maximum frequency content of the original signal. Otherwise, there will be aliasing. Okay, so this is something that is to be taken note of. This is also called compressor. Okay, that we are having signals like this, all the instances are available, right? But you are having a compressed version of the signal, downsampled. That means you are taking not all the samples, but every second sample or every third sample. So accordingly, it is getting compressed. But if it has all the required information to reconstruct the signal back, then there is no issue. So at the right hand side, you have got a compressed version of the signal. Okay. Now this part we already know. We are using this relationship time and again. Okay. So if this is sampled at a rate with an interval t, or at a rate 1 upon t, then corresponding DTFT relationship is this. Okay, with the original time domain signal, right? So this is 1 upon t that is there, and this is copies of this at this omega is apart, or 2 pi apart, right? So when we have got this XDN instead of this, so this is nothing but XC in T prime now. T prime is your MT, M times T, right? So the basic definition, if we insert it, we shall get this one, and then we insert T prime as MT. So this is what we get. Okay. So I'm just keeping this slide for a few seconds. We are employing the basic relationship that we derived before, right? So instead of T, we are writing T prime, and then we are using the relationship T prime is MT. Okay. Right. Now there is something which let us take note of. So this is the relationship, and here we write R is equal to I plus Km. R is equal to I plus Km. Okay. So if we write it in this manner, then for I is equal to 0, I is equal to 0, k varies from say 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And again, sorry, k kept at 0 and I varies from 0, 1, 2, 3, it will go up to m minus 1. Then k becomes 1, I varies from 0, 1, 2, 3 to m minus 1. So that will cover the entire range of R. Please understand this part. If I write R is equal to I plus Km, okay, and I have a summation to be done where R is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, all integer values. Okay, so if I have got R is equal to 0, sorry, this K is equal to 0 and I is varied from 0 to m minus 1, that covers 0 to m minus 1. If K is equal to 1 and then I varies from 0 to m minus 1, that covers m2 to m minus 1, right? So that way, if we have this K varying from minus infinity to plus infinity and I varies from 0 to m minus 1, we cover the entire range of R. Okay, so we can write this particular equation in this manner as well. Okay, where R is written as I plus Km. So this is written as I plus Km and this is a double summation. One summation is over I and another summation is over K. So is it okay from here to here? Can I get a quick audio response that this step is understood?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. Now, so this is double summation. So within this, we have a summation, this under the second bracket, the one that we have seen. Does it look familiar? This relationship 1 upon T xc, then j omega by mt minus 2 pi by k by t minus 2 pi I by mt. Variable may be different, but some such relationship. You have seen it before. If you compare this with this one, the basic equation that we have done before, right? So this, for x to the power j omega, we write it in this manner. Here omega, this is by mt, so omega and 2 pi I can be combined together. So this is omega minus 2 pi I and there is a factor of m coming over here. Otherwise 2 pi by kt is same as this relationship. So this overall, whatever you see over here, can be written as this. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Good. So once we have it, then we can substitute it over here, right? Then you please tell me what is the significance? What is the significance of this relationship? So x downsample e to the power j omega, right? What is it? How is it related with x into the power j omega? If you try to visualize it, can somebody tell me? X e to the power j omega we all know. Say something like this, right? So this is your pi, this is your minus pi. So this is your x e to the power j omega. Then this xd e to the power j omega.
Sir, it is attenuated as well as expanded in frequency.
This one that you will make 1 upon m, so that is the scaling factor is there. The other one is what is important, that this is expanded. This omega by m is there, right? So this one will get expanded depending on the value of m. Okay, and then there are this number of copies that are there. Okay, 0 to m minus 1. So these copies, if they overlap with each other, then there is, possibility of this, this aliasing, whatever you are aliasing that you initially talked about. If they do not, then there is no such issue. So this is, if you look at it, spend some time over this particular plot and try to understand it. Okay, I shall discuss it after 1 minute or so.
Sir, here is the energy being conserved in the frequency spectrum.
Yes, energy is conserved. So the summation equation we had, the example talks about m is equal to 2, for which if you expand it, you have got one component here, another component here. These individual components are periodic with, because of the factor omega by 2, periodic with 4 pi. And when you combine them, this one originally, of course, it has to be periodic with 2 pi. Since in the original signal, you had this kind of thing, just half of it. So basically it comes to pi and minus pi, and you do not have any issue of so-called aliasing. And if you look at continuous or analog frequency domain, so this was your original sample signal, its frequency response. So there was sufficient gap. This was capital T. Now this is capital T prime, which is twice the sampling period over here. So sampling frequency got reduced. So this is 2 pi by t, so this is 2 pi by t prime that you see over here, and it is just managing itself not to get aliased. Is it understood? This m is equal to 2. So similarly, you can work for m is equal to 3 or so. Just for your own clarity. Can I move to next slide? Is it understood, this part? This part, how we are doing it? Can I get an audio response?
Sir,
and of course, this is 1 upon t, and we expect 1 upon t prime also. If we are doing a resampling and all, normal resampling route, and this is 1 upon MT. So basically that way also it matches when aliasing is not there.
Sir, for here for m is equal to 2, as it is just touching when it is
Right,
downsampled.
right,
Sir, so
right.
for any higher there will be aliasing, right?
Yeah, in this case, if this is your original thing, there will be aliasing. But if it is like this originally, the sampled one that we are talking about, and similarly corresponding version, DTFT version. So this is normal frequency. So then there will be no aliasing. Okay.
Okay.
So when we are going for downsampling, to be sure, say if you are going for downsampling and all, and in practical situation, right, you can have signal like this. They may have a long tail and all. And if you want to downsample, right, then we shall see that it is prudent that we pass it through a low pass filter in such a manner that any residual beyond that particular thing, okay, is minimal. Maybe already the signal is like this, but it can have a long tail. Naturally occurring signal, there may be a long tail. So we can reduce that effect so that this part doesn't come into part where where the signal of interest that is there and alias it and make us interpret this part of the signal, which is useful signal, which is useful part of the signal corrupted. Okay, so we shall pass it through a low pass filter, and this cutoff frequency will be such that this aliasing is avoided whenever we go for downsampling, whenever we look for compression of the signal. Okay, if it is allowed, whatever we we recover after that by truncating or by removing some of the long tail component, still we get the signal which is meaningful to us. Okay, so we move forward. So this is what your friend just now told, that in this case, if it is m is equal to 3, there will be aliasing, and you can see that it is getting extended to 3 pi by 2 and all, of course. And the solution, that if you are looking for downsampling by a factor of n, capital N, then pass the original signal through a low pass filter with cutoff frequency pi by m in radian scale. Okay. So this is ideal low pass filter, but if it is not ideal, so something will be there, but that is a different issue. So in that case, if your original signal was like this, so after this low pass filtering, so this part will be removed. Okay, definitely there is loss of information, but if you can manage with that, because your main information, useful information is lying in this domain, then there is no issue. So in the previous case, wherever we saw that aliasing is happening, so you make pi by 3, because m was used to be 3 to be the cutoff frequency, and accordingly you design this low pass filter. So this is the now low pass filter signal output, and then you do the downsampling. You will see that there is no aliasing occurring. Okay, so this is the standard method. So this process as a whole is called decimation. So the block diagram that you see over here is self-explanatory from the discussion we had a short while ago. Okay, so if we are interested to downsample it by a factor of m. So a low pass filter with cutoff frequency pi by m before the this downsampling, that is this compressor, the block that we are putting, that is every m signal we are taking out of this filtered signal, and this is the one with which we shall do further processing. Now we discuss upsampling. Okay. Now upsampling, how does it work? So it works in a manner which is, to begin with, would look improper, but later on when we use an interpolation and all, interpolator, we'll see that it works, it will be fine. So the basic method is, first we do, what is it called? Expansion, where the expander block looks something like this. Okay. So upsampling means what? Now again, if we try to look at, so this side we have got samples at these places. Okay, at every t. Right. Now this side, what do you want? Between this, if it is, this L is a 2, then this is my t. So this is t, this is 2t. Right. So we want one sample to be there at t by 2. T by 2. Then we want another sample to be there over here, 3t by 2. And so on, depending on the value of L. So in between these two, we need to insert signal. We need to insert sample. Okay, which will be representative of the original signal. Okay, so this is the idea. Now to do that, the first step is the expansion, and in this expansion, we again, after this, what happens? We all know that these sample values are stored in memory. So this value, this 2t value, this is stored in memory. Right, and it becomes a sequence processing. Digital signal processing is digital sequence processing only. So here what we do, that after this, so this is the first t value, then we put another value which is just 0. Then again, what was the 2t value? So this is t value, so this is 2t value. Then again we insert a 0. And so on. So in between, we keep doing 0 insertion. If that is L is 2. If L is 3, then 2 zeros will be inserted. L is 4, 3 zeros will be inserted. Okay. So this is the idea. So X expanded N, XEN is XNL, right, at N is equal to 0, plus minus L, plus minus 2L. What does it mean? This will become 0, this will become x1, this will become x2, x3, okay, which is already available from here, right, from earlier sampled signal, right? And rest of the places, when this is not valid, so rest of the places it is 0, like what you had shown for L is equal to 2. For L is equal to 3, there will be 2 zeros, L is equal to 4, there will be 3 zeros between two such values. Is this clear? What is happening? 0 insertion between samples, as many zeros as required by the upsampling factor that we are talking about. Okay. Now one may say that path always one can do, that why you do all those things. So I have got the original signal sample at a particular rate, I reconstruct, get the original signal back, original time domain signal. Then I again, resample it at a higher rate. That is also possible. That is also possible. Then you have to have a D2A converter, then a D2D converter and all. But what we see that those are costly and those have, the hardware complexity and other aspect. When you compare with what we are going to discuss over here, okay, you might see that this whatever discussion that we are having, okay, makes more sense. Okay, so once we complete that, it will be clearer to you. Otherwise, definitely that path is also available to us. So let us see whether visiting this concept or this idea helps us when this L is an integer value. L is an integer value. Okay. So we can write xen in that case as xk, okay, del n minus kl. Where k varies from minus infinity to plus infinity. So that means at integer values of k, okay, that means del n minus l del n minus l. Of course, the plus version is also there, plus minus del n minus 2l, right? You have got these sampled values, original sample values, which is your x0, xl, x2l, so that are there, and rest of the values are 0. So we can write it in this manner also. Please ask if you have any question here. Once you understand this, rest is very trivial. Is this expression understood? Rest is I mean, just very simple. Once we understand this representation for expanded signal at the output of the expander following 0 insertion. Can you get an audio response that it is understood? Kaushiki, are you there today?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Is it understood?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. So once we understand this, as I said, rest is just, we'll follow step-by-step approach. So then it's DTFT. The basic equation of DTFT is n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity xen e to the power minus j omega n. So that is the DTFT relationship. Okay. Now instead of xen, now I can write this one. Okay. And when I write this one, so, and change the order of this summation. So this n e to the power j omega n, it will be valid, it will be considered only for, otherwise it will be multiplied with 0, only for cases where n is equal to lk. And this equation is what? This equation is nothing but x e to the power j omega l. Please understand this step.
Sir, could you
Because of del n minus kl, only those n of e to the power j omega n for which n is equal to omega l, n is equal to kl, that comes into consideration, and x e to the power j omega can be rewritten in this manner, where this omega and L put together in the basic DTFT equation, we can write this as x to the power j omega L. This is a modified omega prime, you can say. So this is omega prime, where omega prime is omega L. Okay, is it clear? Now, what is its implication? So if it is your original XC j omega is like this, a band limited signal as usual, right? And you have sampled it at such a rate, just enough that it is avoiding, aliasing. Okay, so this is getting expanded and this is up to pi, right? So this is 1 upon t, whatever t you have chosen. So this corresponding x e to the power, so this is x e to the power j omega, so x e to the power j omega L, okay, is now, instead of this pi, so this becomes pi by L, and the repetition is occurring at 2 pi by L. So this is, for L is equal to 2, it would look something like this. You have two such instances. So is this fine? And for L is equal to 2, 2 pi comes over here. Can I get an audio response that this is understood?
Yes, sir.
If anybody has a question, please don't feel shy, ask at this moment, then there will be no issue later on. At home you have to study less. Okay, so because of omega prime is omega multiplied by L, so this omega axis is getting compressed. Earlier it got expanded, now it is getting compressed. So whatever was appearing at pi, now is appearing at pi by L. Whatever was appearing at 2 pi is appearing at 2 pi by L. For L is equal to 2, in this example, we can see this pi by 2 to pi by 2, that is pi. So whatever the 2 pi that was there becomes pi here. So 2 pi will come in this manner over here. Okay. Now, what could be the issue if I go for reconstruction of the signal, or I mean, just this is got an expanded signal, right? But is it an upsampled signal? If you just look at the frequency domain representation, an upsampled signal, what should it look like? Just by a factor of 2. So this is my original signal, right? Which was sampled at a rate which is just like this. So if it was sampled at twice the rate, how the signal, the spectrum would have, would look like? I'm talking about how this will look like, how this will get changed, right? If sampled at a rate which is twice the one that you see here in this diagram, how the DTFT diagram will change?
Sir, the
So it
middle
will be-
triangle will
Sorry?
be there.
So,
Carry on.
so there would be alternate triangles
So
in
the
the.
middle triangle.
So this triangle, this top one, it will end where? Just
Pi by 2.
pi by 2. Very good. Pi by 2. And its copy will start where? So this is minus pi by 2.
So there
So
will be a
this is
gap
pi.
of pi.
So this is 2 pi. 2 pi is some minus 2 pi somewhere here. So its copy will start because it is repetitive, no? This x to the power j omega. It will start over here.
So it will start.
Similarly, it will start over here. So this is your upsampled, I mean, actual, that signal which will be sampled at a twice the rate. And through zero insertion, this is what you have got. So then what you need to do to get what you actually wanted, this one is what you wanted. but you have got this by zero insertion. So what you need to do after this?
Low pass filter at pi by L.
Sorry?
So pass
Low
it through a low pass filter.
Pass it through a low pass filter. Very good. Very good. So you should pass it through a low pass filter. So low pass filter will be like this. Right? Low pass filter will be like this. That is also, h to the power j omega will be repetitive in nature. So its cutoff frequency should be just, this pi by 2 in this case. So which will eradicate, which will remove this part, right? And only whatever you desire, this will be there. This will be there. Okay. So now you should do to get that signal. After this, you should pass it through a low pass filter, okay, which will do nothing but, what is it called? Interpolation, in a sense where you have got original signal sample here, some value, then 0, then original signal here, then some 0. This is the 0 insertion that you have done for case of 2, then 0, then again some value 0. So in between values that were not visible, that were made 0, this low pass filter, it will take instances from this sample, this sample, this sample, all the samples. This low pass filter, if you look at the HN part of it, right, and then it will generate corresponding interpolated value. So some value which will get generated. So it will not be like this. It will be like this. Okay. So this is the interpolation that is being talked about. If you pass it through this, then you will have a interpolated signal which would look like the one that you wanted in the first place. Okay. So we discuss it for 2 and we can extend it for any other rate L, and then the cutoff frequency will be pi by L. Okay. So there will be multiple, there are 2 copies, then there will be L copies, so you will be just taking out 1 copy within the minus pi to plus pi range, okay, by passing it through a low pass filter with cutoff frequency pi by L. Okay. Now the other thing that we considered before, the gain was 1 here, right? Okay. Now for this particular filter, we need gain to be L to be compatible with the deconstruction process or the deconstruction filter that we discussed before. Okay. Now this is the ideal low pass filter. We already have seen through inverse DTFT. This is the corresponding unit sample response, and when you are looking for convolving this with the samples that are over here, okay, then basically you are looking for this summation, right? And of course you can understand in this summation, the one that we have discussed before, at n is equal to plus minus L to L, etc., is the original sample, because they will generate the sinc function will generate 0 at these intervals, and in between the values will be the interpolated one, the one that we discussed for reconstruction. Okay, so this is what you will get. Okay, so here people are showing that of course you can, instead of ideal low pass filter, we'll be having a real low pass filter with on its limitation and all, and when you pass it through it, you will get some interpolated value. So while this is one way of looking at it, since you are actually doing an interpolation which is asking for samples from -infinity to +infinity, right? And you might truncate it, or you can use other kind of low pass filter. So there are approaches where people used interpolation unit sample response, which is something like this, right? So this is called linear interpolation. So the one that is, which is closest, that is giving the maximum weightage, and the one that is further giving less weightage in a linear, downweighting fashion, and beyond L, no weightage is given. Okay. So for such unit sample response that you would like to convolve, the DTFT, if one calculates, would look something like this. Okay. So this is the ideal one, for which you require infinite number of samples. This is of course finite number of samples for convolution relationship, but then this is what you will get instead of the other one. And of course it will have its own limitation and all, but these are different way you can think of applying the interpolation, or apply the low pass filter after expansion in the interpolation process. Okay. So this is a representative example. So if it is your linear interpolation formula that you are talking about, so the central one is getting maximum weightage and the other ones are getting less weightage. Okay, and beyond certain beyond L, you do not, all the weights are 0. So your original signal was some XC, XN. So after expansion, so N is considered to be 5. So you have got the original signal expanded version with 0 insertion looking something like this. And when you do the convolution with the function that has been shown here, okay, then when you do the convolution, then these in between values get generated, and the reconstructed signal, upsampled signal, interpolated signal would look something like this. So the zeros get converted to some value which is derived from the this interpolation, this unit sample response that has been considered as a linear interpolation method. But you can have other way of doing the thing. Is it understood? Any question here?
Sir, but if we need a linear interpolation, that isn't some real signal, right?
Sorry?
Sir, if we are concerned with increasing the sampling rate to measure the real signal, then this linear interpolation is not that accurate representation.
No,
right?
no, not accurate. That is what I showed. So
then
this linear interpolation that is also a low pass filter. Okay, but the nature of the low pass filter is like this. Okay, while you wanted this one, and you can have other kind of low pass filter also. This is a simple way of realizing it. Okay, so the coefficients are easily determined, and intuitively, the further the sample, you are giving less weightage to it for the current sample. So this is one way of doing it, but you can have other kind of low pass filter that we already know, we have designed. So that kind of low pass filter also you can use. FIR filter, large number of FIR filter, we have seen how to design it. So you can use that also, and it will give you a better approximation. This is just a simple mechanism that people have used. So this is one of the option. This is not only the option. I mean, you can have a number of options, and the closer it is to the ideal, the better the approximation or the interpolated values that you will get. It is not being suggested that you use linear interpolation only. So this is one simple way of arriving at this thing. Otherwise, whether you know low pass filter design or not, it's different issues. So linear interpolation is a simple mechanism, and if you know low pass filter design, okay, you can employ that. Low pass filter, again, we have discussed only FIR. We shall discuss IIR also shortly. So you can use FIR or IIR, and you will get a relationship which is better than this one. Whatever you see here, a better filter response than this. Okay, and less low height, etc. So that will give you a better more these interpolated values will be much better. Not like what this linear interpolation is showing you. Do you get my point? This is just to show that this will not remain 0. This will generate some value. Okay, which is some in between values. But definitely there are better way of realizing the low pass filter. And if you have got an ideal low pass filter, you will get exact values as you would have got by resampling the signal, by converting the signal to time domain and then resampling it. Is it fine? Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we are looking at, while this is fine that you are downsampling or upsampling by integer factor or so, there may be a requirement, or you may think of, where you are changing the sampling rate. You need to change the sampling rate, but by a non-integer factor. But fortunately, what we have in our consideration is something which can be expressed as a ratio of 2 integers. Okay, if it is not, then it is a bit troublesome. Okay, then you have to think of, as I said, resampling and some other method. Okay. So in that case, if you want to convert it to some, you have T and you want a sampling period T into M by L. Okay, say 2 by 3 T. Okay, so this is one method that has been shown. Okay, so first interpolation, then decimation. Can you do the other thing also? First decimation and then interpolation? Do you have got my question? Have you got my question? I'm giving you an example also. So n is equal to 2 and n is equal to 3. So we want to convert the rate. Okay. So here it is shown that one approach where first we interpolate, that means we upsample it by a factor of 3. Okay. First the method is 0 insertion and then ideal low pass filter. Then whatever we get something, and then we decimate it by, of course, this gain and cutoff frequencies we consider, and then downsample. So this is the final center. Yes, somebody wanted to say something.
So if we use the decimeter first, then we'll have to pass it through a low pass filter, which actually
can you be a bit louder?
Information.
Louder, please.
Sir.
Hmm.
Hello. Is that
Yeah,
audible?
go ahead.
So if we use the decimeter first, we would have to use a low pass filter which actually lose information. Whereas if we use the interpolator first, then the low pass filter which we use does not lose information.
So you mean to say there is a possibility of losing information if we put the decimeter
If we use
first,
the decimeter
because
first.
yeah, you are chopping off something, right?
Yes, sir.
So this cutoff frequency is to eliminate copies. So you are not, you already have the signal intact. So if this is your original signal, so in originally sampled signal is it's DTFT. So these cutoff frequencies is to chop off additional such thing after this expansion, zero insertion, etc. Okay, so this is not losing any information, so-called losing any information, right? You are just removing copies. Whereas in decimation, and since it is already upsampled, there is a less, issue depending on the factor that m that you are using, that it will get expanded so much so that it will go beyond the sampling rate that is there, for which there is any elimination. Otherwise, if you do the decimation first, now depending on what is the original single bandwidth or so, it will get expanded, right? And you have to chop it off. And this chopping off actually might remove some of the important components here. So that is the logic you have correctly identified. So this is the sampling rate that you see at different places. So now you can combine these two low-pass filters. You don't need to have two such low-pass filters. And the lower of these two cutoff frequency you can use. Okay, pi by L and pi by M, right? This gain is 1 and this gain is L. So you can consider the gain to be L. And this is the overall block by which you can realize a different sampling rate other than the original one, where it is not, it is M by L form, where M and L are integers. Okay. So example, one such example. So you can go for 2 by 3, you can try on your own. So 3 by 2, so first you do the interpolation, right? And you've got these copies. And then you because it is 3, so pi by 3. So this is eliminating a part of it, and then you are doing the final. So multi-rate signal processing refers to utilizing upsampling, downsampling, compressors, expanders in variety of ways to increase efficiency of signal processing signal systems. Okay, so this is what it does. So this is what we have already seen. Okay. Now, would you like to take some 5-10 minutes break, or would you like to continue?
Break.
Break, no? Okay. Since you have, though the concept was very simple. Simple means, similar, right? But at times it becomes monotonous. Okay. So we shall come back. So after 10 minutes, right? So now it is what time? 12:08. So 12:20 we shall. You can remain logged in, but we shall start the discussion again at 12:20, right? So I'm stopping the recording for the time being. Again, I shall start